Welcome back, everybody, to the Truth Dispensary. It is Tuesday, April the 8th, 2025. I missed you guys last week. I wasn't able to do live because I had a lot of things going on, but we're back again. But there's been a lot transpiring, a lot going on, and I felt the need. I wanted to give my 2 cents and to share my thoughts. We have on what's going on. We had a teenager unfortunately lose his life due to the actions of another teenager, and that's also unfortunate. We have two teens affected by this situation, two families who are experiencing a loss of some sort, of some kind, and it's tragic. It's tragic, but what's more tragic, well, to me, was more so tragic than the actions that took place is also the narratives that's continually been spun, and people are not really focused on the fact that that somebody who lost their life in the midst of this is now goes into a political realm, and it's like we can't escape it. We can't escape it. We can't escape it, and for a moment, for us to just think about and mourn the fact that a life is lost. Um, Another team, for whatever reason, decided to take the life of another, whether it be self defense or not, or whether for a reason why he brought his knife to the track meet to begin with. We have these lives being affected, and we seem like we just can't wait to sink our political teeth into this thing. Whether it be one side wanting to make it about race claiming, um, black on white, white on black, you know, or thinking about weapons in general, there's always something that this is going back to. But it's unfortunate. But we're going to cover some things. I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. So apparently, there's a lot of stories going out concerning the situation. Apparently, the officers have come back and said a lot of sites have been sending out misinformation concerning the situation. But we haven't gotten anything official that I know of. As I'm aware of, at the recording of this live, I'm not aware of anything official that's come out concerning what happened. What we do know is that we have a track meet that's being held, two separate schools. These two students are from two separate schools. Carmelo Anthony's in an area where he wasn't supposed to be. He was told to move, and I'm assuming these are teenagers. I'm pretty sure, at least I'm willing to bet that the language wasn't like, "Hey, sir, you're sitting in our spot. Could you please move?" It probably was like, "Hey, hey, what you doing over here? Get out of here," whatever the case may be. It could have been something like that. Carmelo, for whatever reason, decided to let them know, "Hey, basically, he wasn't finna leave, but if you put your hands on me, I got something for you." And so I heard one narrative say that only thing that Metcalf did was to grab a bag. I heard another narrative say that he grabbed Carmelo. We just don't know yet. We just don't know. I just heard today, prior to making the live, that apparently there's a video. And I don't know how true that is, so don't quote me on that as far as it being a video. I just heard that from someone else, that apparently there's a video about it. And so I guess we'll know more once it surfaces, if it surfaces, or if it comes out in the court documents. But yeah, it's just these things we don't know. But whether or not he was grabbed, or whether or not he grabbed his bag, whatever case may be, the question to me is why? Why would Carmelo feel the need to bring a knife to a track meet? That baffles my mind. The only thing I can think about is if he would probably felt threatened, maybe. Prior to going, maybe he heard that somebody may have been looking for him, or somebody's gonna take him out, or why would he carry a knife with him? And did he always carry a knife? From my understanding, Carmelo and Metcalf were good kids. They didn't get in any trouble. I'm saying much trouble because teenagers, but made good grades, fairly good kids. Why would he feel the need to bring a knife to the track meet? And that's the thing that's the question that I keep thinking about in my mind. What was going on that made him feel like he needed to bring a knife in the first place? being a teenager and being in high school, it's it's not beyond the realm of the possibility for people to get to fighting. Disagreements happen. Testosterone is in the mix, and it happens. It's sinners. It happens. But why bring a knife? It's like thinking of if somebody was to bring a gun. What would be the need to bring a gun to the track meet? Unless there's a history, unless Carmelo's had experience where last time he was at a track meet like this, something went south. I don't know. I'm just trying to speculate here. I'm trying to speculate what the reason is for why he would bring a knife to a track meet. Now, it's not unusual that if you're in a zone or in a spot where your team is not sitting, that those teammates who are on the opposite team would tell you to leave or want you to leave. That's not unusual. I mean, I remember when I was in high school and doing wrestling, we had certain spots where our school sat at, and the other team had their spots. And if you was to go over there, I mean, yeah, you probably get busted, roughed up, whatever case may be. They probably think you try to pick a fight. It happens, but no one would lose their life behind it. You know, maybe their pride, but not their life. This is a sad situation. I mean, it's always sad when you hear of a teenager losing a life, no matter how in what circumstance it is. This is getting so much publicity because it was a black boy killing a white boy. It's the same type of publicity that happens when a white boy kills a black boy. It's the same thing. It's being put this far up because it's race, and it's not necessarily because somebody lost their life. It's making headlines and headways and being talked about a lot because of the fact of the color of their skin, and not really about what happened, you know. But that's what I wanted to take the time and discuss, what took place, why it happened, the nature of our hearts. And I want to encourage us because it's been a long time on this channel that I've covered anything dealing with the political sphere. And mainly for my own sanity. But we have to be careful, guys, not to get drawn in to this bait. We have to be careful, especially as Christians. I'm talking to my fellow Christians, my fellow brothers and sisters out there. We have to be careful not to be consumed by this world. We have to be careful. Speak truth to our neighbors, right? Speak truth, each one of you with his neighbor. You lay aside falsehoods. Speak truth to each other. Even when it comes to the narratives. And the Bible even tells us sometimes, guys, it's best to hold off. Hold off before you pass judgment until you have the information you need. Sometimes it's best to do that. Now, in some cases, you don't need a whole lot of time. You got the information you need. You can make a judgment, right? There's enough here to make a judgment. And so I'm okay to say, and just for the sake of talking here, for anybody who's listening or who will listen on replay, for the sake of talking, I find there's enough here to say that I don't think that Carmelo killed him in a justified manner. No, I don't. Even if the young boy did grab him, there's no witness to testify or to say. Even Carmelo himself didn't say that he was being attacked. He just felt like it was self-defense. It wasn't as if he was saying, hey, he kept hitting me and I told him to stop. That wasn't his thing. He just said, I told him, don't put your hands on me. And nowadays, you put your hands on somebody, it's just like what happened with Carmelo. It's you just touch them. It ain't really that you hitting them or threatening them. It's just that you put your hands on them. And I agree. Hey, you shouldn't be putting your hands on anybody that don't want you to put your hands on them. If nobody wants you to touch them, you leave them alone, right? Unless you're asking for a fight. But I don't think that warrants the taking of a life. Usually for justified self-defense when it comes to taking someone's life, you have to feel there's a threat of bodily harm to you, as like an active threat. Somebody just grabbing you or like, hey, back up, whatever. That's not a threat to bodily harm. You can walk away from a situation like that, but somebody actively attacking you is a whole different story. A whole different story. But we're all on the outside looking in to something like this. We're not there. All we can do is speculate. and speculate. Only thing we can do is speculate. So, in the midst of that, I did want to pull up because I know everybody's been looking at it and it's been pulled up a bunch of times as it is, but I'll do it here too. We'll pull up the site for the article and just take a look at it. Now me gotta get it pull up again. So yeah, everything is how I be though. That's how I be. All right, so you guys should see that right there. We got Carmelo to the left and Metcalf to the right. And the only reason I'm calling him by his last name because right the life of me right now, his first name escapes me. But we're gonna look at the article. Austin Metcalf, and Carmelo Anthony. Okay, so we're not gonna play the video because I don't want I don't want to deal with any copyright stuff right now. But we're just gonna look through the article. Texas track meet stabbing suspect told Austin Metcalf, "See what happens," as tent dispute turned deadly. So the 17-year-old accused of fatally stabbing a fellow teen at a Texas track meet warned him, "Touch me and see what happens," according to a police report that has provided new details about the tent side dispute. Authorities have charged Carmelo Anthony, a student athlete from Frisco Centennial High School, with murder after he allegedly stabbed 17-year-old Austin Metcalf, a junior at Memorial High School in Frisco, to death on Wednesday morning over a seating dispute. An arrest report obtained by Fox News sheds new light on the pre-stabbing clash after Metcalf reportedly told Anthony that he needed to move out of the Memorial team's tent. A witness told Frisco police. The report noted that Anthony grabbed his bag, opened it, and reached inside it and said, "Touch me and see what happens." Now, I just want to pause right there for a moment. And guys, seriously, I want us to think about our culture that we live in. The kind of culture that our young men are looking up to. You know, our pride is hit very hard, man. Pride is something serious. You know, and it's something. If this is true, because this is what a witness told Frisco police. You know, this could be somebody who just taking Austin's side and not really on Carmelo's side. Don't know. I'm just speculating. But if this is true, something has to be said about the kind of culture that our young men are adhering to, where you just this attitude where you just can't tell me nothing. Even when I'm in the dead wrong, you better not say nothing to me about it. The attitude to be able to say, "Hey, no, you're not supposed to be here. Touch me and see what happens." He grabbed the bag. So at this point, if this is true, all this looks bad because at this point, all Carmelo needed to do was, "Okay, hey, my bad. I didn't know this was y'all's spot. I didn't know this was where I'm supposed to be. Cool, move on." Even if they was being rude, even if this thing is, "Hey, you know what? I ain't gonna take no ish from nobody" type stuff. This is what got Austin killed, and this is what got Carmelo in jail. Sometimes, guys, sometimes it's best. Sometimes it's best to be at peace. Oh man, as much as it depends on you, as much as it depends on you, because now this is something that escalated somewhere that it didn't have to. It didn't have to. Now I haven't seen a witness statement at all come to the point to say that it was because Austin was like physically threatening him or anything like that. Like I said, now the police have come out and said, now y'all like to have a lot of controversy and stuff like that, saying, "Hey, people covering up stuff." But my thing is, covering up these type of stories don't really serve anybody any good, because I guarantee you the last thing that we want here, or last thing we need here, is another race war. We don't need it. Nobody really wants it. It doesn't benefit anybody. You know, nobody wins. So I am hard pressed to give the police the benefit of the doubt that when they say that there are people passing out misinformation saying that Austin grabbed him, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt until the truth comes out. Until the truth come out because they're the ones who were there as far as getting the statements and everything. And Carmelo has time to really say his piece. His lawyer, he said now his own lawyer, Carmelo's lawyer, said that he has no reason to doubt that it's self-defense at this point. But that is Carmelo's lawyer. So I mean, if he's defending him, why would he say, "I think he's guilty"? I'm defending him though. These things don't make any sense. So hey, it's all speculation until we have the facts, right? But if this is true, our culture is killing literally our young boys and girls, killing them. It's killing their mind. The way they handle situations. Nobody realizes how to handle conflict anymore. And it's not just on white on black. It's black on black. It is white on white. It's all of it. No one knows how to handle conflict. Everybody's immature in these areas. You know, if he was in the wrong place, then all he had to do was move to the right spot. He could have talked this smack while he walked away. You know, but this standing, if he was giving this kind of posture, well, I ain't moving. Touch me if you want to. That's the result of the culture. Not, I mean, it's enough that we got our own inherent sin we're dealing with, right? I mean, I do believe that we're all born in sin, shaped in iniquity. We don't need any help to be sinful. We don't. But our culture just like puts that junk on 10, on probably on 100 even. Because the culture teaches you, hey, this is how you're supposed to do. You're supposed to stand on business, right? And you're not supposed to take no mess. You're not supposed to do this. You're not supposed to let this happen. Don't let nobody tell you what to do. Even if you're wrong, don't tell me what to do. Let me do the wrong and let me take the consequences. That's what our culture teaching our children. That's what it's doing. It was teaching me that, you know, until I had to learn some sense. So this was senseless. This was senseless. It didn't have to happen. Now, if like the first narrative I heard is that Austin had like basically an attempt to try to get Carmelo away, grabbed Carmelo's bag. Basically like, hey, I'm gonna move your stuff. Yeah, you don't touch nobody's stuff. I understand that, but still, I mean, that would cause to get you a punch in the face, maybe, a wrestling match at the moment, but not to get stabbed over if he grabbed his bag. If it's true that he grabbed him, that he was like, no, you need to move and pushed him, like, hey, no, you need to come on, get it from over here, grabbed him. Once again, punch in the face, kick in the balls. I understand that. Sorry for those who may not want to hear that kind of language. But I mean, I can understand all of that. But a stab in the heart, I just find that difficult. I find that difficult to wrap my mind over. I find it difficult to wrap my mind around that. And maybe some of you can help me. Maybe those who are watching in the chat and those who are listening on the replay can leave me your thoughts in the comments. Because I've heard people online say, hey, you put your hands on me. I teach my children, don't let nobody put their hands on your A, B, and C. I understand that. I teach my children the same. Don't let nobody just put their hands on you. You don't let nobody just beat on you. You don't let nobody just attack you. You defend yourself. I believe that. I do believe that. But this doesn't seem like that was that situation. It just doesn't. Now, we'll just have to wait and see. We will have to wait and see till everything comes out. It's just sad. It's just sad, guys. We need to be really mindful of what our children are soaking up in this culture. For them to have the attitudes that they have, and take more time in teaching them how to deal with conflict. Not necessarily waiting until something happens, but taking time while they're sitting around and doing nothing. Talk to them about how to handle conflict, how to be wise, how to use wisdom, use discretion. All those things help them in the long run, helps them in the world as they get older. These are practical applications they can use for their life. And unfortunately, with this situation, it didn't pan out that way. Now, if it comes out that Metcalf actually did put his hands on him and punched him and beat him, and he had no choice but to pull his knife to protect his life, as self-defense goes, hey, understood. Understood. But from Carmelo's own words at the time he was being arrested, because my thing is, if you're being arrested, you don't have to ask if what your actions are being is self-defense. If you know you're being attacked, you know it would be ruled as self-defense. At least you should understand that. But him being 17 or 16, he may not have, he may not. But you know, I would think if you're being actively attacked, and the only thing you had left to do was to pull a knife to protect yourself, there would be no question if it was self-defense. So that's my thoughts on that. I know I paused here for a moment. I just want to give my thoughts there. But you're welcome to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you agree or disagree, it's all good. Like I said, none of us have all the facts right now, because we're all looking in from the outside. But what's giving this so much attention is because it's a white boy and a black boy, you know. And to me, that's the saddest thing about this. Like we can't be mourning this because a child lost their life and another child is going to prison, you know, or potentially going to prison. Like these are things we need to be mourning over, and discussing more about. Whether if it had been two black boys, it should have been the same outcry. What happened? Why would you bring a knife? Why would you feel the need to? If it was two white boys that did it to each other, the same thing. It should have been more about what happened. Why would you bring a knife? Why did it have to be a knife there? Why? Yo, Proverbial Life, what's going on, Edwin? What's going on, man? Y'all check out Proverbial Life. Y'all check out the Proverbial Life. He covered this topic too, more in depth. And also, I do like the way you did your video, man. Really good. So even both of these subjects we're covering today, go check out his channel for other content he got on there too. But yeah, it just that's the part that irritates me the most about this situation. It's the race baiting. It's the race baiting, and as far as the attitude of the culture. I see people on my Facebook feeds, praising this kind of stuff, saying that he was like, there's nothing wrong with this, and it's like it's scary to me, and this is why, man, I ain't gonna lie. When I see young men, and I'm not even gonna put young black men, young white men, whatever. I see young men, to me, in a group, they sketchy to me. I don't care the white, black, Asian, whatever, Puerto Rican, I don't care. It's sketchy to me because this is the culture. I don't know what they're feeding themselves. I don't know what they're feeding themselves mentally. It's just, I'm always looking at them with a side eye. That's how I am now. That's how I'm wired now. Maybe because I'm getting older. I don't know. Maybe I become an old man. Maybe I become for real. I don't know. But that's the way it is. It's because the way our culture keeps feeding them. And like I took my family to our city fair, and as much as I would love to enjoy this time with my family and just walking and just enjoying, which I did enjoy. Don't get me wrong. I find my moments to enjoy. Like I gotta disconnect for a little bit, but I can't help but to keep looking around, watching over my shoulder, looking around, see what's happening, because you see all these young folks out here. There's all the young folks out here, and even though it got so bad here in our city that they telling people at the gate, if you're 17, if you're below the age of 18, you got to be accompanied by an adult. That's where we are now. When I was coming up, you could be 15, 16. If you got the money, you can go into the fair. You pay your money at the gate, and you can go, or your parents will come and leave you, and drop you off, and come back and get you. But they say you got to be accompanied by a parent at all times. And that was the rule to get in. Now, when I got in, I seen a whole bunch of teenagers who were less than 18 without their parents around them. I mean, hey, they got in somehow, whatever the case may be, or whatever, and however it was. But my thing is, that's where we are now. And even then, if all that, me and my family we went early. I've learned that when I was younger, I love going to the fair in the evening. When the sun is setting and stuff like that, because the lights on the rides look pretty. I ain't trying to sound soft or nothing, but God, they look pretty. I like the lights and stuff like that. And if you have a Ferris wheel and there's lights and everything, it's just a nice, beautiful sight. But I don't do it no more. I'm not going to the fair at night because it never fails to happen that somebody gonna get to fighting, somebody gonna do something stupid, and it's gonna shut it down. And so my family and I, we went early during the day. We stayed for a couple hours. We walked around. We got us some good fair food, and my daughter rode a few rides, and we bounced. But then 2 3 hours later, find out that the fair got shut down because idiots got to fighting. Never fails. Never fails. The young, dumb, and full of energy they can't control. Amen. That you soft, bro. I may be. I may be. Yo, but they do, and lights be beautiful, man. You know they do. You know they do. But yeah, full of energy they can't control. They don't know what to do with this energy. They gotta do something. And they mindset is just to do the wrong thing. You know, gotta go here to fight. You couldn't fight across the street away from the fair. You had to come to the fair to fight. You could have like, I don't know, these people just do something crazy, man. It just don't make no sense. Don't make no sense. But it's stuff like that. It's the culture I blame. It's the culture I blame. You know, I'm 36 by God's grace, and unfortunately, there are men and women my age, even 40, that act like they're 20 and 19. They're immature. You know what I'm saying? They want to talk like the streets and everything else. It's like, because that's what appeals, the culture. So it ain't just you say I'm a baby. Hey, hey, I appreciate it. Hey, I used to get offended by it now, but I welcome it now. Because time ain't stopping. Time ain't stopping. But they act immature, and it's like nobody knows how to handle conflict. Nobody knows how to talk anymore. Nobody knows how to get their thoughts across effectively. No, they don't. I mean, I'm not even talking about those who like to cuss a lot. I don't look, if you got to cuss, I understand. Go ahead and do it. My thing is, at least articulate what it is you're actually upset about so we can move on. But what you hear in this culture is people got a whole lot of cussing, a whole lot of filthy mouth and filthy this and filthy that, and can't get nowhere. Absolutely nowhere. Any conflict resolution. But they can shoot. They can fight. And even after fight, even after the dust settles and the dust clears, the conflict is still there. After the bullets fly, conflict is still there. No one knows how to articulate, and it's like nobody, and I know it. No one has the patience to do it. Maybe it's not that no one knows how to. Maybe it's that people don't have the patience for it, because it takes time to actually work something like this stuff out. Because what would happen if if Austin and Carmelo could have actually talked this through effectively? Hey, you're in the wrong place. Carmelo, just think. It's not where my team is supposed to be sitting. This is Memorial's seat. This is Memorial's tent. This isn't my team's tent. I'm here though. Why am I here? Did I make a mistake? And I admit that I made a mistake. Now that takes time to reflect on those things. In Austin, maybe he didn't have any patience with Carmelo when he showed up. Maybe he was impatient with him. It could be. We don't know. Maybe Carmelo came over here and was like, "Hey man, you ain't supposed to be here." Maybe he could have, like, you know what? Maybe what if Carmelo actually made a mistake? Maybe he didn't know where he was supposed to be. Can I just talk to him to see what's up? See what's going on? And even if Carmelo then was like, "Hey, I ain't moving. I don't care if this is Memorial spot. This is my spot." And maybe Austin could have been like, "Okay, you know what? Okay, I hear you, man. You're in the wrong place. But I'm gonna go talk to my coach. I'm gonna go talk to somebody else, because who maybe can get through to you. I hear you though. You said don't want to be over here. Got you, but you're not supposed to be here. So I'm gonna let somebody else know." But then they're gonna make him a tattletale. They're gonna make him a snitch. They're gonna make it this, that. It's like all this cultural stuff, this cultural baggage keeps us from conflict resolution. That's what it does. Man, that's just like you. It's like just saying all that makes it exhausting for me just thinking about it. Because I'm not the fact of actually trying to get to the conflict resolution that doesn't exhaust me. It's thinking about all the cultural things that's coming in to make blockades and barriers from getting there that makes it exhausting. And because of that, that's why I guess why people kind of jump to, like it would say, their feelings. Oh man, uh, it's wild. It's wild. Oh man. Okay, so I said I was gonna read down some more in this article. Let me go down some more because I probably gonna get through this article. I want to get to my next topic too. I definitely want to talk about that situation. But this one here really stood out to me because of this the publicity it's getting and why it's getting the publicity. I said, in the next moment, the witness told police that Anthony reached into his bag and the male took a knife out of the bag and stabbed Austin. The witness told the officer that Anthony deserted the scene following the stabbing, and Austin Metcalf died in his twin brother's arms. Which is just terrible. That's just sad. Um, so this is a police report. Oh, I want to read all this. Let me see. I'm trying to think. I want to read all of this. Let me see here. That initial narrative. Okay, so it's from the officer's perspective. Said, okay, I gave the suspect instructions to keep his hands up in the air. During this time, the suspect said verbally out loud, I was protecting myself. Okay. This was officer's perspective from his report. It said, I was protecting myself. It should be noted that I had not questioned him about the incident when he made that comment. I asked him if he had any weapons, and he said no. I patted him down for weapons while we were walking along the fence. I did not locate any on his person. I instructed the male to continue walking along the fence, which he complied, towards an area where there was an opening in the fence that led off the track. He said, while walking him off the track, the suspect also said he put his hands on me. I then detained the suspect in handcuffs, handcuffed behind his back, and had him sit down on the ground. The officer had arrived on the scene at that time. I conducted another pat down of his person and then searched his person. After he gave me consent, no weapons were located. While the suspect sat on the ground, I advised that I had the alleged suspect. The suspect then responds and says, I'm not alleged, I did it. Next, Officer Reese and I walked the suspect to patrol vehicle and gave the patrol car's number. He said he was emotional and said he put his hands on me. I told him not to. I did not question the suspect about the incident while he was escorted to the patrol vehicle. I told him I searched his person again. Once again, there's a lot of searching. It's like, dang, it's a lot of searching. How many times you got to search them? But I guess it could be protocol. You know, it could be protocol. I don't know. He said while the suspect was in the back seat, I noticed fresh blood on his left middle finger. I verbally acknowledged that I saw the blood out loud so that it would be captured on my body worn camera. It should also be noted that the suspect asked me, "Is he going to be okay?" while he was in the back seat. You see, I'm trying to see if there's anything else on here that we don't know concerning what happened. They talk about him. They basically talk about transporting to the jail. Okay, yeah, you basically talk about what happened there. Mm. Okay, everybody's okay. Some of the statements just talking about the same thing as far as what he said. Basically, he's saying that he did do it, but that he defended himself or protected himself. Okay. There's a lot to unpack with that. Definitely a lot to unpack with that. What do you guys think? I mean, come on out. If he's saying, I'm protecting myself. I mean, makes me wonder what happened then. Like I said, we have witness testimony saying that basically he already threatened before anybody said anything to him, anybody grabbed anything to him. More so, not said anything but grab him or did anything. That he let them know, touch me and see what happens. Hey, I told him not to. He said it to the officer that, hey, I told him not to. He put his hands on me. Just have to wait and see. Just wait and see what comes out. But Offset looking in from what we already have, it doesn't seem like this is justifiable self-defense. Not for a killing, not for taking a life. Could be for defending yourself physically if somebody was, putting, if he was grabbing him and he'd get him off of him. I understand that. Don't think he was threatened of any um, bodily harm based off of everything that we've seen so far. So we just see what comes out. This is just sad, but I'm not going to make this about, you know, people are mourning. Like basically, he's going to jail, and Rittenhouse did not. Like that part irritated me because Rittenhouse did have his time in court. It wasn't like he was let go on the scene. He had his time in court. And he was ruled innocent or not guilty. That's that. With all the evidence that came out. And these two situations aren't the same. They're not the same. Yeah, the only thing people try to liken to these situations or these two situations because of the color of people's skin, but the circumstances are not the same. Absolutely not. So yeah, this just make my head hurt thinking about the kind of stuff people have been throwing into this narrative to make something that is not. Instead of us being able to mourn what it actually is and deal with what it is. So I think I done beat that dead horse enough. I don't know what you think. All right, so we'll see. As things come up, I may do an update on this. Going forward. But we'll see. We'll just have to see what else comes out. Mm-hmm. The next thing, guys, we're gonna talk about is this lady here wanna put her hands on somebody. Now we got two situations with somebody putting their hands on people. They shouldn't be putting their hands on people. They shouldn't be touching nobody. They don't want to be touched. Allegedly with the other situation. This one here is not allegedly. She actually did put her hands on her. She punched this woman. Punched this woman in the midst of a conversation. Now, if you go watch the Proverbial Life channel, and I think uh Developing Dad podcast, he covered it as well and played the actual video. You can go check them out or actually look up the video yourself if you want to look at the video. It's pretty cut and dry. I mean, should be no debate here. This woman, the woman here you see that's like pulling back because she just really got hit is Savannah. I don't see if her whole name is on here. I just know her name is Savannah. Let me see. Oh, I'm sorry, Savannah Anteo, if I pronounced it correct. And then you have Brianna Rivers. So, yes, this is the clear photo here. Punch right in the face. For what? What caused her to want to be so angry to punch this woman in the face? No reason. No physical reason, no physical threat of bodily harm or anything like that. Savannah didn't tell her that she was going to hurt her or threaten her with violence or anything like that. they were having a conversation about abortion. If you've watched my channel over the years, you know how strongly I feel about this subject. But she's basically bringing her to a logical conclusion of her argument. I was basically saying that, basically you're saying it's okay to murder children who who are in foster care homes and basically have a bad life. That we will say, bad quality of life, that we should just kill them. Because she was basically her argument, and I understood what Savannah was doing. Brianna got offended because she's basically trying to say, "You trying to tell me I'm trying to say you should kill these children," and I'm not saying that. But she doesn't understand that was the logical conclusion that it was coming up with. If you're saying that, you should be able to murder children because of the possibility of them having a bad life, but then why not kill the ones who already do have the bad life? Basically saying they don't deserve to be here. They don't need to be here. They be better off dead. That's the logical conclusion, whether people want to admit it or not. And that's that. But that's why she got punched. That's why she got punched, for basically bringing her to the carpet, letting her know that your worldview is inconsistent and it has a lot of stuff in there that's just crazy, and for you to stand on that is crazy, but Brianna didn't like it. She was really upset and she felt the need to punch her. The crazy thing about this is, after punching her for just words, that's what it was, it made me think about that old childhood nursing rhyme, stick, or not nursing rhyme, this old childhood saying, "Sticks and stones will break my bones, but words never hurt me." But words hurt Brianna this day, and she decided to take sticks and stones, and so this what happened. So this is unfortunate. There ain't much time to take on this. Ain't much to say about this. Once again, this is what our culture brings to. Our culture is oblivious to handle any conflict correctly. Our culture is oblivious to be able to deal with any subject intellectually. We are afraid of debate. We are afraid of intellectual dialogue. We are afraid and lack the patience to be able to parse out our thoughts and feelings because we're worried about what people may think, people may say, or it may be, or we're just very ignorant in a lot of areas, and we don't want nobody to see that, and so, or we're afraid to admit it. Best thing to do is to either, now she actually went out swinging literally, or people just abuse you verbally, just result to ad attacks, attacking mind, and get everybody the fact that they lack intellect when it comes to certain situations. Now, I'm not saying Brianna lacked intellect. She didn't actually. Her problem is that her